What's good? Welcome to another edition of First String Podcast with your boy Toothpick. Follow me on Twitter at Toothpick74. Like and subscribe to the podcast, First String Podcast, on YouTube and on Twitter. Hit the notification button to enable alerts for new content just like this right now. Okay, so what are we doing? We are about to post game with my man, the Beard from Authentic and the Beard. We had him on here on Saturday. Let's bring him back in for this post game. What's good,
What's
Beard?
going on? Hey, you know me, man. Just trying to get by on another Monday after a loss. So you know how
Yes.
it is, man. But gotta hold our heads up high and hopefully we can right this ship sooner rather than later, man. But it's always good to be able to jump on here and chop it up with you, man. I appreciate it as always for having me on, my man.
Hey, I appreciate you for coming on, and this is like therapy because everybody want to get this bad taste out of our mouths. You know,
I know. Authentic had his Giants therapy session earlier, like about 2 hours ago.
Okay.
Excuse me, and it went about 2 hours for the Giants therapy session. So I think I understand how everybody needs to get a little bit off their chest when it comes to these losses, especially one that we could have won. So I think that's what really makes this one hurt a little bit more. Like the Bills
Right.
loss. The Bills loss was we were obviously like just not in the same class as the
not in the
Buffalo
same
Bills.
class.
And we saw how good that Buffalo Bills team is totally legit. And we talked about it a little bit on Saturday about their
Yeah.
defense and they
Ooh.
came to play, man. They came to
Yeah.
play, and so like without looking too far ahead, man, that Kansas City game, they're going to be quite upset. So it's going to be an interesting week preparing for Kansas City. But like I said, man, that Saints game, it hurt, man. It hurt because I thought we were going to win, and
Right.
then the way that the game was unfolding, especially from the start, it felt like everything was going to go the right way.
Mm-hmm.
We finally stop an opposing team from scoring on their first drive.
Well,
And
we didn't
don't
stop
even just
them.
stop
We only
them.
hold
We got
them
an
to three.
interception.
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
we
yeah.
got an
That's right. Yeah,
interception.
that's right. We
You know what
did.
I'm
We got the
saying?
interception.
Yeah,
That's right. Yeah.
So that like completely like I thought it was like setting the mood, but then they turn around after that interception and they can't score a touchdown. They're kicking field goals.
Yep.
And like when your defense is playing bad, although like I do want to get out there and say that the defense definitely played a little bit better this week, but it's still playing bad, and so you got to score touchdowns. You got to put points on the board.
You got to score
And we
touchdowns.
just failed to do that on the red zone offense for Washington this Sunday was horrible. It was horrible.
Yes.
So
the one thing that I sort of said to, you know how when you hurt, you make a joke so that you feel better. I said Washington is the 2 pills that the doctor prescribes and tells you to call them next Sunday. So Patrick Mahomes walked into the doctor's office this morning and said, I had a horrible game last night. And he's going to say, go play Washington and call me the Sunday after that.
Yeah.
Like Josh Allen sat on that same couch and said, Doc, I feel terrible. I had a terrible game yesterday. He says, go play Washington and call me in 2 weeks. And he's Doc, I'm still throwing touchdowns. You know what I mean? Like Matty Ice got a victory, but he walked into that same doctor's office and said, Doc, I couldn't beat the Giants. Go play Washington and call me in 2 weeks. And he goes, throws 4 touchdowns, right? And then dips off to London and gets a victory versus the Jets. But you see him getting better. So why do we have to be that pill that the doctor keeps prescribing? You know what I mean?
Man, listen. That's you hit it with that. That's a crazy analogy, but yeah, it seems to be the way that things are going right now, and pun intended, it's a tough pill to swallow,
Yeah.
because this defense, it just doesn't seem to be. There's nothing clicking. There's nothing going right. Like, and they should have the talent, and they were doing, like I said, they were doing a lot better this week. And, it's just the big plays, the big mistakes. I mean, the first touchdown pass, obviously the blown coverage on the deep end with Landon Collins,
Oh my God.
and it's like, are we gonna hold? It's not. It's obviously, he's the one that's playing, but he shouldn't be in that position in the first place. You
Nope.
shouldn't. You
Nope.
shouldn't have Landon Collins back there trying to defend a play like that. And we went into this game knowing how much speed the Saints have.
Yes.
And they definitely exposed us on that. So that was like defensively, that was the first big mistake. The second big mistake was
Bad tackling.
the bad tackling. Yeah, I mean that's all over the place. But the Hail Mary
Oh my God.
was that one. That was the one that like just will make you jump off the ledge for sure.
I was on Corey's podcast at the time. We were streaming live, and I literally lost my mind because as a defensive back, you are taught how to defend against a Hail Mary. Like you have to jump. Like every person has to jump. And it's no excuses for not jumping. You can't say I got knocked down. You got to look for the trailer. You got to do all that. You got to get their box out, get up in the air. If anybody gets their hands on the ball, you got to knock it out of their hands. We had guys that wouldn't even, I mean, they had their back turned, not looking for the ball. I mean, it's just all kinds of coaching points on what not to do in that Hail Mary, All right.
And the thing that was interesting to me was the fact that they were saying after the game, they were saying that, in that particular situation, they thought that the Saints were going to try and do a short pass and kick the field goal, which is why they weren't, quote unquote, defending for, they weren't ready for the Hail Mary. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, they just signed this kicker this week. He already missed an extra point. Do you really think that they're going to be trying to kick a field goal? Like you have to think that know that they're going to try and go for the Hail Mary on that. So those were the first big mistakes. And then obviously there was another defensive letdown on the second Callaway touchdown in the red zone, which was the last one, which was pretty much the dagger, and that came off of there was 7 minutes left in the game, and there was 8 plays, 75-yard drive.
Yes. That one was terrible. That one was terrible because at that point we had put that what I would say has been Turner's best drive this whole season because Taylor shows you that he's inaccurate at this time. So you went to the ground, you went to short passes, you went to crossing routes, which runs away from mans. You got Taylor out on the edge of the defense a little bit. Well, he got himself out on the edge a little bit on the defense. So we kept the Saints off balance with that. And we had to get that penalty. So we come off of that and you like, okay, the defense has made some stops. Are they going to make another stop? No.
Yeah. That one hurt. I just think, at that point, you really needed the defense to step up and make a stop on that drive to keep us in the game, but they just weren't able to do it, and they kind of just methodically like diced us up on that drive.
Yes.
I mean, and it wasn't even just like they did it. They took time off. They drove the length of the field, and then the touchdown was just it was a miscommunication, which seems to be the theme of this season so far. So
well, that's the thing that goes back a couple of years because I even asked Fred Smoot, and I was so upset I didn't even call a post game show this week, right? But I asked Fred, I said, listen, it's always a miscommunication, right? It's always a miscommunication on defense. We don't know what we're doing. We don't know what we're talking about. What's going on? How complicated is it? And if it's that complicated where there's a miscommunication, why are we not simplifying things for why are we not simplifying things for our secondary? That's what good coaches do. If it's too complicated, let's scale it back. Let's cut out half of the plays. Let's find what we do well. Let's do that. right? If we know that Landon Collins is not the fastest guy in the defensive secondary, how about we do this? How about we put Landon Collins when we want him to play that robber? We put him in the too high safety look. That's the guys in the defense, right? Put him in the too high safety look, and he goes back to a deep third, and then somebody comes up and plays that middle, right? That robber position. What's so hard about that? What's so hard to think outside the box? Why have him all the way down in the box, 8 yards, like 2 yards behind the linebacker, and you want him to go back deep third? He ain't got that kind of speed. What kind of tape are you watching, coaches? When have you ever known Landon Collins to be a blazer? Never. and I don't know, man. Just the way the coaches are talking right now, I understand. Mike Tomlin probably had this season a couple of years ago when Ben Roethlisberger was hurt. He had gone through a litany of quarterbacks, and he had to keep his team together. I think Ron should get on the phone and call Mike Tomlin and figure out, how do I keep my team together when all chaos is breaking loose? Because pretty soon we'll have finger pointing and people will start shutting down and making plans for as soon as they can get out of here.
Yeah, and we're 5 weeks in. At this point in the season, I had my preseason, breaking down the schedule, I had us at 4-1, and now we're sitting at 2-3. And even if I knew the Chargers game was going to be a little difficult, but I thought we would be able to win that. And if you look back on it, we could have won that game.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be sitting here and harping on woulda, shoulda, couldas and stuff like that, but we definitely should have won that game. And then we should have won this game.
Yes.
And that would have changed the outlook for the rest of the season, because we're going into this stretch of games now where it's going to be very difficult.
It's going to be difficult.
Victories. So, and obviously, Taylor Heineke had his worst game, since being part of the Washington team. So
yeah.
that's not easy at all to watch him and it's just the turnovers that he had in this game they were bad turnovers in really bad positions on the field.
I got a question for you about Heineke. I also pointed this out a little bit. This is the first time I saw him with bad body language, like bad body language during the game. Like Taylor usually has that confidence. You see that confidence coming off. Like even when he threw that interception in the New York Giant game, he came off to the sideline. He slammed his helmet because he knew he could do better, right? But this time you saw him on the sideline. He's blowing out his lips, like he's pouting, right? I mean, and you're the quarterback. You're the person that's supposed to go in that huddle, command that huddle, and give those guys, hey, come on, you had a holding call. Don't worry about it. We're gonna pick this up right now. But I saw it from the man commanding the huddle. And then you saw Terry get frustrated at the end of the game. I mean, he's beating this guy all day. He's got man beaters. He's throwing the ball behind him. He's not throwing it in front of him. I pointed that out too. He's throwing the ball over Carter's head by 9 feet. So I think his frustration rubbed off on the whole team. And you got to pick those guys up and tell them, hey, I'm going to get it back. But I don't know if you saw the same thing. Let me know what you think.
I mean, I think it was just all over on everybody's. I think they realized how important that game was. And it got to a point where they let it affect them. But this is the thing, is that, it's super difficult for people like, us who are on the outside to really know what's going on, on the sideline, in the locker room, in the huddle. We can only make assumptions.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, he hit the wall in that game. And I'm sure that, like in the other games where he made mistakes, and when he's made mistakes, he's been able to kind of, like take control and bounce back and stuff like that. But in this situation, the hole was too deep. And then, it wasn't like the other times where he's had the ball at the end and had an opportunity to win the game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like in this situation, when they had the ball at the end, they were down,
2 tutties.
Points. Yeah, exactly, to come back. So it's just psychologically, I'm sure that has a little bit of weight on him, and he said some interesting stuff in his post
Post.
game interview too. Like they had, I can't. I don't want to butcher the quote, so I'm not going to try. But they had asked him something along the lines of him like about his performance and how did he feel. And his response was a little funny too. But I mean, this week coming up is going to be like, this is a test right here. It's going to test, all these players, all these coaches, because are you really going to be able to bounce back from that loss, and at least put out a good showing? You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I think Ron will get them together to a certain extent, but I mean, they have to figure out what's wrong, because now, like, it's never understandable. You know what I'm saying? Miscommunications and missed assignments, like, this is what you're supposed to do. You gotta execute. But like now you're like 5 weeks in, it's like we're still hearing the same thing. So it's
Yep.
like, at what point are they gonna make changes, and what changes are they gonna make? Because they're gonna have to do something different here.
Yeah.
Because right now nothing is working right. And
I,
first of all, Taylor Heineke shouldn't be throwing the ball that many times during the
no,
game anyways.
no way should he be throwing that ball that many times. I remember Ron saying that they're playing free. There's no consequences, right? You remember him saying that? I think that was during the
Yeah.
preseason. There are no consequences, right? Well, when do the consequences kick in? Because you keep trotting the same 11 guys out there. Your coaching staff keeps doing the same thing. Are there only consequences for players? Are there consequences for coaches with bad game plans? And at what point in time do you take responsibilities away from coaches? Hey, what's up, Hawk TV? What's up, man? He just popped in the joint, say, hey. So at what point in time do you start to holding other people accountable? I mean, you can't wait until Thanksgiving comes to say, oh, now we're going to start holding people accountable, because last I checked, we're in October. We're done with the first quarter of the season. Games are starting to slip away. You're starting to fall back behind the in the division. Whether you know it or not, that was an NFC loss right there. That's our first NFC loss,
Yep.
and that thing will count later on. You just gave the Saints hope in the NFC, right? And don't forget, you got to go to Green Bay, right? Seattle comes to visit. Like we got a string of people coming up, man. It's about to get rugged. It's about
Yeah,
to get real rugged.
some of those games though don't look as bad as they did. Okay, so Seattle, you'll probably get. I mean, there's a chance you get Seattle without Russell Wilson. So
Yes.
that is completely different than playing Seattle with Russell Wilson.
Well, I don't know. I
Denver-
don't know, because right now, just out of the little bit that we saw out of Geno Smith, and I had to watch that game. I'm married to a Seahawks fan. He could move now, and it looks like he gets it, and he has weapons. He probably has the best weapons he's ever had in his whole career.
Well, for sure, yeah. Because I mean, he was. I don't even know. I can't remember who the Jets receivers were.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, nothing against Geno Smith, because look, I think everybody in America who was watching that game was cheering for Geno Smith.
Yes.
Just because, you know what I'm saying?
It's Geno Smith.
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, Geno Smith is not Russell Wilson.
Nope, not at all.
Okay, so that's a little bit, something to think about. Another thing to think about would be the Denver Broncos aren't playing as, that 3-0 start they had. It looks a little different now.
Yes.
The Oakland Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders, you know what I'm saying? They look human again. They just lost to the Bears, although be it the Bears do have a good defense.
That's 2 in a row.
So you got, the Raiders, the Seahawks. Who was the other one that was coming up?
We got KC. We got KC
the Chiefs
first.
Are a little banged up. Carolina don't look as good as they did before. Carolina just lost to the Eagles.
Yep.
So, sometimes you got to hold on to the little hope you got.
Right.
And so like that's what I'm trying. I'm trying my best to be positive, because I remember I was upset even after the Atlanta win. And then like For some reason, it's weird. I was almost like more upset after the Atlanta win than I was
Right.
in New Orleans
Because we should have
loss.
blew them out. There's no way Cordell Patterson should have just had his coming out party against us. So I understand exactly why you are was upset. You just made this guy NFC East player. I mean NFC player of the millennial. I mean, no, not really, but my man had 3 tutties. He had 3 tutties.
Yeah.
He was running the ball. He was doing everything, and he had a reemergence. So yes, well, Hawk TV says Ron Rivera needs to take a page out of the Giants coaching book and make his coaches run laps. I don't know about that, but I do believe he needs to start taking some of these responsibilities away from these coaches and giving them to other people. And before you, I would say do that before you start holding the players accountable, because you have to. The coach that were Andy Reid. Andy Reid would fuss at his coaches instead of fussing at his players. He's holding the coaches accountable. The coaches, assistant coaches, are then going to hold the players accountable. You can't just go down to the players like, but coach told me to do this, and he's like, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. You get the coach first. So I do agree with you, Hawk, but I say he needs to have a serious coaches meeting and get those guys on the same page and start taking some responsibilities away. And today, during his press conference, he was asked that question, and he got a little chesty and was like, "No, it's too early. It's not too early."
So did they ask him if he thought about taking away the play calling duties from Jack Del Rio?
Yes. He pretty much the question was, are you thinking about making any coaching changes or taking responsibilities away from coaches? And he says, no, it's too early. Yeah. It's not too early for me. It's not too early for me.
I feel you, man. Listen, it's not like, okay,
hold on,
so
hold on, Beard. Let me give you the whole quote. Let me give you the whole quote before I mess this up. He goes, it's too early and I like what we're doing. That's the part that blew my mind. It made B. Mitch's head explode. Like B. Mitch went on a rant. He said, I guarantee you, if I sit down and watch film in the room with a coach, what I write on a paper is probably going to be the same thing he writes on a paper, and I don't let him see my paper. But you're telling me that he likes what we're doing, and it's only 2 plays that he would take away, and we had a great game. No, B. Mitch pointed out 5 plays. I believe you pointed out 5 plays. The Hail Mary, the Alvin Kamara run where Jamin Davis hits the wrong gap. He looks like he's hitting a C gap. He should be going to the B gap where the double team was right in front of him. He looked like he tried to go around it. He has to go on top of it. That's the 2 plays. Let's talk about the blown coverage with Landon Collins. That's 3 right there that I can name. And then we'll talk about, the last tutty. How about that?
Yeah, the Marcus Callaway one where he slipped through. I mean, he was wide open.
That's 4 plays right there. So go ahead, Beard. I lost it for a little bit, but
no, it's just now I'm wondering to myself, how much, because like I was saying before, it's like, okay, we don't always know what's going on in the locker room. We don't always know, what's going on the field, on the sidelines. Maybe there's a lot that he says to the media, just to kind of like, it's coaches talk, basically. Like he's just he's just kind of saying what he's supposed to say so that there's not a story. Because I mean, you know how it is here in DC. I mean, it's like you slip up and say the wrong thing, and it's like, and Ron always been a little testy.
Yeah.
With the media since he's been here, and
but this ain't Charlotte. This is not. This is a bigger town. This is a bigger team.
It's a bit different, but they have to do something. They have to do something. Like they were saying, this team is, I think the biggest mistake was believing that this team was a quarterback away.
Oh my God.
Like we convinced ourselves that we were a quarterback away. And in reality, that's not the case. It's just it's a little weird, that how, I mean, we might have been a little overrated defensively, right? Like coming to this season, Okay, but a little overrated, maybe you're like run of the mill 15 to 20, you know what I'm saying, on the defensive side of the ball. But like we're like basically the worst defense in the National Football League. Like I don't it's a little different from going from the fifth best to the worst than like the fifth best to like, the 17th or 20th best.
Right.
And it just to me like I don't have an answer. And I think that's what the worst part about it is. It's like, there's not one thing that is the problem. There's a lot of issues right now.
Hey, from the beginning, when the 53-man roster came out, the linebackers that we kept, I automatically said, we got the worst linebacking core in the National Football League. And I literally thought we're about to pillage and plunder through the people that got cut to create our real linebacking core. But that never happened. Like yesterday, they were running sub packages to hide linebackers. They had like 6 men on the field yesterday, 6 DBs on the field yesterday to hide linebackers. And I may have joked over the weekend and told my guy Blink, you met him on Saturday. I asked him about the Georgia linebackers. We're going to get all 3 of them guys. We need the first, second, and third pick just to rebuild our linebacker core, right? You look at that deficiency, and then the fact that we're still trying to find a free safety, and teams are just outright going after our defensive backs with, did I tell y'all that wide receivers can't sleep because they couldn't wait to get after us? Did I lie? Jameis Winston couldn't sleep because he couldn't wait to get after us. And I said, Alvin Kamara is about to have a big day. Those are the things I said. And did they not come true, Beard? Did they not come true?
Oh, they came true and then some, like it's, and that's the thing is, just as much as we could be 4-1 right now, we could be 0-5. So it's like, this is the thing is like, I'm not one to I don't like to give up.
It's not season, 2019 right? All over again. Yeah.
until we're, mathematically out of it. To me, we still in it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's just how I roll. Like I ain't one of these people to be like, oh, the season is over. You know what I'm saying?
Even when we out of it, I'm still rooting like crazy for something great to happen.
Of course. But and some of this stuff, these situations, we're not going to be able to fix during the season. We have to realize that. There's going to be a lot of work in the off season to try and fix some of these holes that we have, and we're going to have some cap space, and we'll have some draft picks, I would imagine, at this rate. But that doesn't mean that you don't adjust and adapt. And I think that's what bothers me the most is I just feel like there's not a lot of let alone in-game adjustments. Like I would kill to see some in-game adjustments.
Oh my God. I'm saying? You never said nothing wrong.
But from week to week, I would still, just some sort of adjustments and like, and it's crazy because you hear the coach talk like we just were talking about. Oh, we're going to go back and we're going to look at the film and, we just got to do things right. And there's a couple misplays here and a couple misplays there. But like that sort of stuff, like but I'm not seeing the change in the next week. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, eventually they're going to have to pull some rabbits out of their hat, and they're going to have to do it real soon because, this Sunday could be embarrassing.
Man, listen.
Or it could be tremendous.
Listen, I'm going to tell you right now.
What if Washington beats Kansas City?
Listen,
people go crazy.
I already put it in. And I said it. Listen, when the line came out, I had to put it in before it goes down. KC 6.5. The over under is 6.5. Came out at
6.5.
Came out at 6.5, and the over under is set at 50. What was it set at? 56.
That over might get to 60 by the time it's kickoff.
That's why I had to get it now. I'm telling you right now. Pick the over right now. Look at what we gave up, 44 to the Saints, who are receiver depleted. KC's coming in with Tyreek Hill in the game. That's all I'm gonna call him, just Tyreek Hill in the game, right?
Like they
Not
about
to
ready to drop a soul
and
record.
they man. Yes. Okay. So I gotta. All right. So I hit you with the doctor analogy. So I gotta ask you this, right? You said earlier that Taylor Heineke shouldn't be throwing that much. Now I'm about to bring your point home right back to you. Okay. Everybody's saying we're a quarterback away, and we should have went and got a quarterback in the draft. All right. You following me so far, right, Beard?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's just say that in the draft, Taylor Heineke is who we got. Let's make him a rookie. 5 games in, would you have a rookie passing the ball that many times? Because he's going to learn. He's got to learn, right? A rookie's got to learn. He ain't Peyton Manning. He hadn't been a 4-year starter at Tennessee, right? That's not him. He didn't come in with that cachet, right? He's going through rookie learning lessons as a 25-year-old, 29-year-old man, something like that, 28, 29. Mm-hmm. He's going through rookie lessons right now. How would you have handled this, Beard? I mean, how do you look at this for Taylor Heineke? What's up, Roger Smith? Oh, let me hit a couple of comments up while you think about your answer. Roger, I appreciate you coming through. Let's see. He says, "Are they tanking these moves? These moves and no moves insults my football intelligence. You can't tell me we can't see Collins and he's horrible play. McCain is missing tackles in film sessions. Now, I'm right with you on that one, Beard. What you think about that?"
Yeah, I mean it's puzzling. It truly is puzzling. Like I obviously, I agree with everything that he says except for the tanking thing. I'm not one to believe that anybody in professional sports tanks. For me, like, I understand the concept of tanking and I understand, but I find it difficult to believe that professional athletes would not give it their all. I mean, like, A, they got to get paid. B, is as soon as you start slipping up, that's how you get hurt. And then they got a lot. When you play ball, you got pride. You know what I'm saying? But like, that's why it's puzzling to me, like, this whole situation. But back to your Heineke question. I mean, when you put it like that, it's an interesting hypothetical because
it makes sense, right?
I understand what you're saying. He's because you kind of do have to look at it from that perspective of him being, a quote unquote rookie. It's weird because this game right here is a little bit different. Well, first of all, in 2021, like, it's like everybody's passing the ball. It doesn't matter if you're a rookie or not. So it's like, before you would like to see your rookie quarterback throw it maybe 21 times, right?
Right.
That's, to me, I think that's a sweet spot. It's like around 21 times. And we ran a lot of plays in this game, which is kind of crazy. I think we had 70 plus plays, and Taylor Heineke threw the ball. I want to say it was 41 times.
Yeah,
which to me is too much. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, Gibson ran the ball 20 times.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy to think about, that Gibson got 20 carries and Taylor Heineke threw the ball 41 times. Like, this doesn't make sense. So it's like, maybe you take away, 15 of those
and give them 2
throws.
And
give them to McKissick
and Patterson. Listen, how do you protect a rookie quarterback? You run the ball, you give him a tight end. Yes, we are missing a tight end right now. But guess what?
Ricky Seals-Jones played all right.
But when you losing a starting tight end, right? When you lose a starting tight end, you are subtracting something, right? You're subtracting something. But Ricky Seals-Jones, he's a professional football player. So you're losing something. But how do you protect a rookie? You give him a running game. We got a slow tight end who blocks. Why not make this guy a fullback right now? Make him a fullback or H-back. At least if he's slow, at some point in time, you can slip him out when the defensive end thinks he's going to block him, and slip right past him and hit him with a boot, right? Let's use your personnel. Ron Rivera earlier today said you only got 53 people and is making all these excuses. Hey, use your mind. Think. You said this guy is slow, but you love the way he blocks, and you're telling when you bring him in to give Ricky Seals-Jones a blow that is going to be a running play. Turn this guy into a fullback or an H-back and let this guy work. Incorporate that into your offense. Stop being in the shotgun all the time. And it's killing me on 4th and 1. We sitting Taylor Heineke out in the shotgun with AG beside him. Come on now. You're already losing 5 yards to gain a yard. That doesn't make sense to me.
It's just, and I'm not necessarily even mad at the play calls. I think a lot of it is just I'm more upset about, you know, the timing of some of the calls. You know, it's just I talked about this earlier, you know, with Big Douglas and them, and it's just like it's predictable. It's super predictable. You know what I'm saying? It's just, and in the red zone, and don't even listen, Scott Turner. You need to go spend a whole afternoon, on 2-point conversion plays because I don't think he's converted. I don't think he's converted a 2-point conversion since he's been here.
04. Not a one. I was screaming, it's too early to go for a 2-point conversion. Don't do it. Everybody said, oh, no, it's the right play. It's not the right play. Take the points. Sugarfoots hadn't missed anything today, right? Because you did not give him the opportunity to try a 50-plus yarder. You didn't give him that opportunity because you don't trust him. And if you don't trust him and you sign in other kickers, get them out of your locker room. But you keep these same players around that you don't trust, that you show no confidence in, and you wonder why you're losing. You wonder why your quarterback standing on the sideline pouting. So, I'm with you. Take the points, pray that your defense makes a stop, and you get the ball back, and then you go for 2 with the game on the line. And that time, somebody could have drew up a play for Scott Turner to say, this is what we're going to run, teach it to the guys as they come in and out. Because all of his 2-point conversions, I don't know who's drawing them up, but I can draw a better 2-point conversion play than that. Matter of fact, I'm going to give it to you right now. Give me a 2-wide set to the right. Give me Ricky Seals-Jones at the tight end position, right? I'm coming with both of those wide receivers on the outside with inside slants, and I'm running Ricky Seals-Jones on an out route, not an out route, but a flat route. That's a natural pick from those 2 wide receivers. It's 3 yards that you need. Get that ball to him on his upfield shoulder and let him do the work on his own to get into the end zone. How about that?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds better than what we've been seeing so far. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, I would like to see them start to use. This is what I thought. I was expecting them to play Gibson and like how they did McCaffrey, and you know, maybe even more like Kamara. And I feel like there's just never been a consistent like game plan of using Antonio Gibson, like how they used McCaffrey in Carolina, and how the Saints use Kamara. And I mean, McKissick is just like, I don't want to see McKissick running the ball 3 times on the goal line, but I want to see McKissick touch the ball. I mean, and Patterson came in and like, yeah, toothpick got the headset, he ready. and Patterson came in, he ran the ball well a couple of times.
Yeah, he did.
Know?
Yeah, he did.
So look, it was a tough game. You know, I thought that, you know, overall perspective, okay? Because, you know, I got a couple more minutes left. So I just an overall perspective from me on the way that this whole thing went down, okay? The defense played better as a whole.
Yeah.
If you're looking at the entire game outlook. Still not good enough, but they played better. The big plays continue to be an issue on this team. Third downs still continue to be an issue offensively and defensively. Okay, Taylor Heineke, you know, hit a wall. I mean, he obviously his limitations were shown.
Oh,
my
God.
I think they asked too much of him. And I thought Antonio Gibson, I don't think he was 100%. I mean,
no,
he's not.
He's not.
He's not 100%, but there's a few plays there where I was like, he looked a little bad.
Yeah.
Not necessarily like performance wise, but just health wise. I thought that they dropped the ball offensively by not using McKissick and Patterson more. They
Hmm.
threw the ball too much with Taylor Heineke. The red zone offense. I mean, and this kind of ties into the 2-point conversion thing. The red zone offense was pitiful all
Yeah.
game. If we score, two touchdowns maybe on some of those goal line, you know what I mean, those red zone opportunities, then we're in the game. And then the Taylor Heineke, his interceptions were just
Whew.
really, really
At
bad
the wrong time.
because wrong time, wrong place on the field. So I just, there's a lot to digest there, obviously. But shout out Chase Young, got a sack, forced
Yeah.
fumble. You know what I'm saying? But there's a lot of work to be done here, and hopefully they're getting to work fast because before you know it, Patrick Mahomes, or as my man Toothpick says, Tyreek Hill and the gang,
Tyreek Hill of the game.
they
They
coming to
coming.
town to play a
They
show.
coming. They
They're coming
coming.
to, so you can catch Tyreek Hill and the gang live at
Yeah, you
FedEx
can.
Field.
Yeah, you can.
So we're gonna see how this whole thing progresses throughout the week. But yeah, that's pretty much what I took away from the game. We should have won this game. We let this game slip away, and
Yep.
we let this game slip away because of failure to score when given opportunities on the turnovers. We failed
Agree.
to win in this game because we didn't take advantage of red zone opportunities. We failed in this game because we turned the ball over at inopportune times.
Yep.
We failed to win this game because Taylor Heineke couldn't, find the receivers at the right times in the right places in the right spaces. So I mean, you could put there's enough blame to go around for everybody. You know what I'm
Yeah, it
saying?
is.
But like I said, I'm gonna hold my head high. I'm gonna go out here on Sunday. I'm gonna root for my boys, and
Yep.
we're gonna have to take this. This is definitely a one game at a time season from here on out. I mean, we're what two games back now behind Dallas. So
Yeah, we're two behind them, and Dallas looks like world beaters. Real quick, I know you got to go, and I do appreciate your time. Go ahead and let everybody know where we can find you at this week, and I gotta have you back on Saturday. So, I
yeah, I'm
mean
gonna
that.
try. I have being authentic was talking about it, man. It's fun to chop it up DC DMV style. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
the vibe of Saturdays is fun, man. And shout out to Paulie and G from the shop, and your Georgia boy.
my
Nah,
boy.
me and
Yeah.
Blink. He's a cool dude, man. I enjoyed him too, man. And that fight though, man.
Oh my
Before I
God.
leave, that fight though, man. Right? That was a good one, right?
Oh yeah, it was a good one, but it cost me. It cost me. I parlayed it. I parlayed it, and this is crazy. But Wilder was plus money, right? Wilder's plus money. I mean, I should have played it again the opposite way, but I parlayed it with Virginia, who came home plus 2.5. I parlayed that with, oh my God, what was it? What was it? It was Ohio State, the over, and then the third part of that was Wilder plus money. So I put $14 on it. Would have been 600. Crazy.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
missed
You know
that
how
one.
that cookie crumbles.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm you guys can catch me on our channel, which is Authentic and the Beard, and we'll be live again tomorrow night at 7:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then once again on Thursday night, same time, 7:00. Sunday mornings at 11:00, we do the parlay, which is our fantasy football and NFL
Yeah.
betting show, and then Authentic just did a live earlier today. The Giants overreaction, man. You thought
I'm
we
about to
had
go watch
bad.
it. I'm about to
Yeah,
go
go
watch it.
watch it, man, because Authentic, man, you always dropping gems, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and they had a tough day, man. I feel, listen, like there's always rivalry, right?
Mm-hmm.
With our teams in our division, right? But at the same time, you know what I'm saying, like. You hate to watch because we were all cheering for the Giants in that game.
Yes. Yes.
And the Giants, they played up until things started going downhill. They were right there with them. You know what I'm saying? But to see Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, Kenny Galladay, like they lost all of them in the
Yes.
same game.
Yes.
And then it just was just too much to overcome. So,
Yep.
you know, so big shout out to my man Authentic, who I do the shows with, Authentic in the Beard. You can find me on Twitter, Tim Walk on Water with the number 2. And yeah, man, I always love chopping it up with you too, Fick, man.
Man, I appreciate it, man.
Anytime I can jump on for even a few minutes, man, I'm always gonna be around to, you know, chop it up with you, man. And,
All right.
Make sure y'all keep showing my man Toothpick some love, man.
I appreciate it, man. And
hey, no doubt.
Send a shout out to my man Authentic. Let him know I'm about to go watch his rehab session right now, or I'm sorry, his counseling session right now. Listen, yeah. I'm gonna tell you like this. At least they're not with the doctor prescribed like we are right now.
no. I love that one, man. Look, you know what you need to do? You need to chop up. You need to chop up that clip and put it on Twitter, man. Because man, you that's a great one, man.
I might have to do that. I might have to do that. Dubs, what's happening, Dub family, man? I'm gonna have to get with Dub too. But you can catch me tomorrow. I got a special guest coming on, Washington D.C. style. I'm gonna have Lou Holder on tomorrow with me.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah, but don't tell G because G don't know yet. So I'm bringing G in there with me. I'm bringing G with me because it's G from the shop, man. Everybody, if you don't know G from the shop, stop by tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central, and watch my man. He just dropped gems. He pause. It's in the water, you know. So thank you again for your time. You know how we do. We call it an OG classic. We get in, we get out, and thank you very much. We'll catch y'all tomorrow.